I think that would be like chemical warfare. Hey guys, how you guys been? I am still sick and my throat still hurts, so I've been relying on Chloroseptic to get by. Today we're talking about spraying perfumes, spraying scents. What are the different methods to do so? So we all know the classic ways that we used to spray scents back in the day, right? We used to do the classic spray, 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 rub, 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 and that's it, right? That used to be the classic way we used to spray scents. Yeah, sure, that works. People say that doing this is bad for the scent. I don't know how that's chemically possible, but I'm not a chemist, I'm not a perfumer, so I'm not here to tell you what the chemical reactions of things are. I am going to tell you my experience so far. I've tested over, at this point, I've tested over 70 scents, and I want to talk to you about what's worked for me, what I've learned in this time doing this, and what I've experienced that has made me grow as a fragrance lover. Here's what I used to do before as a scent lover, right? I used to do spray, 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 and that's it. Two problems here, and I noticed this immediately. Problem number one is I used to notice that certain scents would just not last long with me, but other people would compliment me on a scent or make comments on a scent that I could no longer perceive. And I was like, what the hell? How can other people smell something that I'm not smelling? What's going on here? And I did some research. I started looking online. I looked at Reddit and I looked at different places, like what's going on? Why can't I smell it? And I realized error number one. Error number one is spraying your neck. Why is that an error? Spraying here triggers a situation in your body, right? Your body is very, very accustomed to ignoring things that it gets used to, right? Like for example, right now, do you see your nose? You don't. It's there all the time. Like if you look down, you can see your nose and you become aware of it, but it's there all the time. But your body, your mind, your being has gotten used to ignoring it. Your body tends to ignore, to eliminate data that is there for a long time. The same thing happens with scents. Think about a room spray. Think about like those things that you put, a wallflower. Think about those air fresheners that you put on the wall sockets, and they release constant fragrance, right? After a while, you start smelling it and you think, oh, that stopped working. No, it didn't stop working. You've been in that area for so long, you stop smelling it. It's the same thing with your own smell. You know you can't smell your own scent, right? Like you have a particular scent, you can't smell it. Your family probably has a particular scent. You probably can't smell them either because you're so used to them. You're so used to smelling them. So your body, your mind, your nose, I guess, ignores it. It ignores the constant repeated stimulation, right? So it ignores the constant repeated stimulation that it's getting from that scent. So if you spray it on your neck, it's constantly wafting up to your nose, and your nose chooses to start ignoring that stimulation. Your brain, not your nose, your brain starts choosing to ignore that stimulation, and you just become nose blind to it. That's what nose blinded means. Your nose, your brain starts ignoring that input, right? You become blind to it. Literally, you started ignoring that scent. So spraying on your neck is error number one. Error number two is spraying it on your wrist. Why? Especially post 2020, you know what happened then? You know, the big global event. You know what happened then? What have we been doing more and more and more? Washing our hands, right? And I don't know about you, but when I wash my hands, I frequently get my wrist wet. What are you doing every time you get your wrist wet? You're washing off your scent. So here you have A, washing off whatever you have on your wrist, and B, you become nose blind to your neck. So here you have two different things working against you when you spray your scent. These are two common mistakes that people make when you spray. So what do I do? So I have different methods of spraying. If it's a regular scent that I'm testing, I overspray because honestly, I want to be obnoxious with my scents and get a lot of compliments and or get a lot of comments because A, I find it funny. B, I want people to make comments about it so I can share it with you guys. So I super overspray. This is how I do it. I spray a lot of times. I do arm, not wrist, arm, elbow, like here, which is another pulse point. So elbow, elbow, shoulder, shoulder, chest, which I'm not gonna do because my microphone's there, but chest, and then back of the head, okay? So I do all those points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what I do normally, right? This creates a very strong bubble around me, and it leaves a ciliage behind because I've sprayed the back of my head. So when I walk away, I leave a trail. If it's a very weak scent, I add my wrist to it because why not? So that's if it's a normal scent and if I'm overspraying, right? If I don't want to overspray and if I don't want to choke out a room, here's what I do. Instead, I will do the same routine, but with one difference. I have nothing on. So I do elbow, elbow, shoulder, shoulder, chest, and back of the head, but with no clothes on, right? Why do I do that if I don't want to choke out a room? Because after that, I put clothes on, and that will automatically mute the amount of fragrance that's being sent out, right? Because you're creating a barrier of projection. It's still gonna project, trust me. It's still gonna project, but that's gonna be a lot more muted. If you wanna go full beast mode, then do it all on your clothes. Less on your skin and more on your clothes, because that's gonna be a lot more powerful. So those are the two ways to do it. Now, if you want to be demure, if you want to be light, then I would just do elbow, elbow, back of the head. Those are the two most simple ones, and your head will probably maintain the scent the longest because depending on how you style your hair will hold on to the scent and you pretty much don't touch it that long. And then when you brush your hair or you do something like that, it'll kind of release scent. So those are the different ways to do spraying. The science behind it is basically easy. It's like how you want your scent to project. The arms to me make more sense because you won't wash it off. The shoulders to me make more sense because I still want to perceive it, but it's not so close to my nose that I'll ignore it so I can smell it more often. And the chest to me is the best one because you only smell that if you're close by, and that's the one that stays the longest because that's the one that has the least movement. That's the one that has the least like rubbing off point, and that's the one that stays the longest. These two are the ones that stay the longest because they're the ones that are moving the least. They're the ones that have the least like interactions with things. So they're the ones that are messed with the least. These will fade, these usually stay. So that's the way I do it. The last way to do scents is the influencer way, which is essentially this. That's great. That's great. It burns my face. So if you want to do it that way, that's okay. I don't believe any influencer leaves their house like that. I just don't. That would be obnoxiously stinky to me. Like, at least I don't think they go into an office like that, because that would choke out a room. Even a scent that's not super powerfully strong, because I don't think Vanilla Skin is super powerfully strong. I don't think that they would go into an office like that. They wouldn't go into a closed environment like that, because that would be impressively annoying. It's my method, which is shoulder, shoulders, back of the head, chest. And I think people have thought I choked out the room with certain scents, especially lattafa scents, which are extreme projectors. So I don't even imagine doing that with like anything from lattafa or anything from French Avenue, because I think that would like kill a person. I think that's ridiculous. But if that's what you want to do it. But keep in mind that there are certain environments that you get in trouble for that. Like someone will call HR on you for choking out a room. So keep that in mind. Like I can even imagine doing that with like azure oud. I think that would be like chemical warfare. So So that's how I put on perfume. I think that's a good way to like think about it. Like, what do you want to project? Just make sure that you don't get nose blind from it, because in my personal opinion, I wear perfume more for me than anybody else. The reason I put on so much is to get compliments and comments, but that's for you guys, not really for me. I don't care about getting compliments, but I want to share my compliments and comments with you guys. But personally, I wear stuff because it makes me feel good. I like smelling things. I like experiencing these scents. It makes me happy. What is your perfume routine? How do you do it? Oh, another thing to consider is skin versus clothes. Clothes will project very differently from skin. There are certain scents that will perform very, very differently on clothes than on skin. I recently did a review of Armaf Mandarin Sky, and that scent is completely different on skin than on clothes. Completely different, like night and day. Some things will warm up, will activate with your skin oils and create a different environment, a different scent profile that will smell completely different. That's why I try to do a mix of the both, so they'll highlight different things. And to me, I prefer that scent story experience. And the last thing to consider is how dry are you as a person? If you do not moisturize, if you don't have like naturally moisturized skin, if you're a dry skinned person, I always recommend you take a shower before you put on scent and you moisturize your skin and then you put on a scent. That'll make it last considerably longer. Just remember that anything that you put on that has a scent will battle that fragrance. So make sure you use a moisturizer that is either fragrance free or has a very, very light scent. Another thing you can use is oil to make it stick longer. So for example, I use a lot of coconut oil for my skincare regimen, or I use beef tallow for my skincare regimen, and my scents last considerably, or not considerably longer, but they last a little bit longer when I use oil on my skin or tallow on my skin and then apply fragrance. It kind of like helps it last. That's it, guys. I think that's all the information I have. What's your perfume applying routine? Are you a 4 sprayer, a 6 sprayer, an 8 sprayer, a 10 sprayer? Are you an influencer sprayer, or are you a simple dabber of boop, 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 and that's it? I don't even know how you can get anything from that. Let me know your thoughts. Remember that scents are subjective and procedures are subjective. Not everybody does it the same way, and there's no right way to do things. We're literally just playing with scents. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and always remember to smell your best. See ya.